Hello and welcome back my top 10ers. Today, we will be talking on top 10 kids you won't believe exist. Number 10. Mohammad Kaleem. Born in eastern India, Mohammad Kaleem's birth story began with happiness, but quickly turned into a nightmare for both the boy and his parents. Unlike other toddlers, Mohammad had a rare condition called Macrodactyly or local gigantism, which caused his hands to move much faster than the rest of his body. By the time he was 8 years old, his hands were too large for him, making it difficult for him to do basic things like dress, eat, and take a shower without assistance. To make matters worse, nearly every local school turned him down because they believed he scared other children. To put it mildly, the family endured cruel treatment at home from the villagers, who believed Mohammad's rare medical condition was the result of a curse placed on Mohammad's parents for some unspecified past transgression. The boy was even dubbed the Devil's Child. Fortunately, towards the end of 2014, a few Indian doctors took the initiative to try to free Mohammad from his misfortunes, and he underwent surgery on one of his hands, with the goal that God had sent doctors to reduce the skin. Number 9. Deepak Paswan. Similar to Mohammad, Deepak also experienced some stigma because of his extraordinary development. However, unlike Mohammad, Deepak's case was more shocking. Instead of having 4 limbs as is customary, he had 8, with the other 4 sticking straight out of his chest. These extra body parts were thought to be an undeveloped twin, and caused problems for the mother before Deepak was born. She is reported to have experienced frequent episodes of pain, and to have discovered what the issue had been all along. Due to the relatively inadequate health care system in the Indian state of Bihar, it was not feasible to identify such an anomaly before to her due date. As a result, the 8 when Linda Pak was born, everyone was shocked. Some thought he was the Hindu goddess Lakshmi and brought him offerings, while others thought he was some kind of monster that would eventually devour his parents. Fortunately, the boy didn't have to put up with all the extra limbs because the parasitic twin was removed, after scans revealed that the two didn't share any essential body organs. Number 8. Fu Wengui. Beijing's Fu Wengui, China, is another example of how having more body parts can cause issues. Instead of the normal 7 vertebrae on a person's neck, this man had 10 of them, which made him appear taller, albeit disproportionately, as seen in this photo with his father Wengui. However, the most unfortunate thing about the extra bones is the physical pain that comes with them. According to his father, the extra 3 vertebrae put more pressure on the boy's neck nerves, making walking difficult for him. According to medical professionals, the boy had a condition called congenital scoliosis, which is caused by the spinal cord failing to form properly. The condition manifests itself in the first 6 weeks or so after conception. The last time we heard about him was in 2014, when we were preparing for surgery to reduce his neck, sponsored by a charity in Beijing. Since then, not much has been heard about him. We can only hope that the procedure went well. Number 7. Mana Majed. The case of Manoman get an Egyptian toddler can help better explain this. The girl got the bad side of the process and ended up with an extra head attached to hers. Instead of a separate twin, the help was more of a parasitic toddler rising from a condition called cranial peg. Mana Majed twins are created when the embryo splits into 2, and each of them develops to form a distinct fetus. This extra head had some vitality because it could move its mouth and blink. It had even been given a name, Alam, but in order to give Mana normal life, the head needed to be removed as soon as possible. Consequently, doctors undertook a 13-hour surgery to remove the undeveloped twin, and the procedure was successful, despite the fact that the little girl had frequent infections for the 2 years. She was alive before passing away from a brain infection. Number 6. Charlotte Garside. Garside Charlotte, as we previously mentioned, children are essentially just smaller versions of adults, but in the case of Charlotte Garside, this was not the case. Experts estimate that a newborn should weigh between 5 and 8 pounds in normal circumstances, but Charlotte was born weighing only 2 pounds, which naturally alarmed her parents and doctors. She had to spend the first 13 weeks of her life in the care of medical professionals, and data from previous cases painted a rather grim picture of this girl, with doctors contributing that she might not make it past her first birthday. Patients with primordial dwarfism, an uncommon genetic condition, frequently experience this, even though most people with this condition who had small builds passed away at a young age from health complications. Charlotte persevered. Her brain may not be as developed as it should be for her age, but it's still amazing that she's come this far. Number 5. Milagros Cerron. Many civilizations around the world have a common belief in mermaids. The key question is whether these legendary creatures are true or not. Milagros Cerron was fairly similar to a mermaid, except that she wasn't one and she didn't live in the water. Instead, she was born with Sirenomelia, also known as mermaid syndrome, which means that her legs were rejected. Usually, children with mermaid syndrome pass away within a few hours of birth. But Milagros lived long enough for medical professionals to separate her legs and perform extensive reconstructive surgery on her lower body. She lived for 15 years before passing away from kidney problems, and despite her illness, she even managed to walk, which was a significant accomplishment. Number 4. Tessa Evans. Even though Evans' disease is incredibly unusual, it's not completely impossible to locate organs that do not grow at birth. Tessa Evans is one such example. She was born with congenital arrhythmia, was born without sinus cavities or sense of smell, and her nose was replaced with a patch of skin instead of a full nose. This unusual ailment is estimated to occur approximately once in every 197 million births, with at least 46 examples documented globally. The question is, how does this girl live a normal life at birth? Physicians implanted a tube that has been essential to her survival. But the treatment of her problem has not ended there. She is the first person to receive a nasal implant, which is intended to help her develop a nose. A variety of further procedures are currently being performed as part of this process, such as an implant implanted through her hairline, which will be replaced as she grows to ensure that her nose will grow with her. The last procedure will take place when she enters her teens. To make it feel like a real body part, a medical tattoo artist will add features like nostrils and varying colors of dark and light. Number 3. Didier Montalvo. Doctors say that little Didier Montalvo from Colombia had a rare illness called congenital melanocytic nevus, or CMN, which caused the shell-like growth on his back that gave him the nickname Turtle Bow. Although the name may have amused his tormentors, the growth hindered Didier in many ways, as it accounted for at least 20% of his weight. To make matters worse, his village thought he was under some sort of evil spell, which worried him even more. But because of Neo Bulstro, a well-known plastic surgeon in the UK, Didier was able to say goodbye to his growth and the emotional and physical strain that came with it. The conductor offered to operate on him for free after seeing the Bose plate. And yes, the surgery was successful. And the IDR can now accomplish anything a child his age could, which is a win for the doctor's selflessness. Number 2. The Albino Twins. The Albino Twins, who are undoubtedly adorable and bear a striking resemblance to ancient Greek gods, caused quite a stir when they were first featured on the internet, alongside a collection of other photos taken by Swiss photographer Vinicius Terranova. Their name is Mara and Lara Pawar, and although they are originally from Guinea-Bissau in West Africa, they now reside in Brazil with their parents. As previously mentioned, they have albinism, which is a more well-known condition than most that we've looked at in this video because, as you can see, they lack pigmentation in their skin, eyes, and hair. Fortunately, this has turned out to be a blessing in disguise, as the twins, along with their older sister Sheila, are quite remarkable. In addition, they adore their skin and have secured significant modeling contracts with prominent brands like Nike and Those Are Kids. In previous interviews, they have described albinism as lovely and have expressed a desire to use it as a platform in the modeling industry to represent not only other ladies, but also other albinos. What can we say about those young people's pretty amazing affirmations? May the cosmos fulfill their wishes. Number 1. Xianhang has a genetic skin disease called ichthyosis, which means fish in Greek. The bow's entire body is covered in dry, scaly, and itchy skin that cracks when it gets too dry, which can make life more difficult for the boy by creating a pathway for other infections. The boy experiences excruciating pain, making it difficult for him to sleep at night, and forcing him to limit how much movement he can do with his arms and legs. The worst part is that there is currently no cure, so despite all the discomfort, Pan will have to deal with living with this condition. His neighborhood has dubbed him the fishbowl, which, to put it mildly, doesn't exactly help the problem, at least lessen the agony and itching. Patients with HDSS need to always keep their skin moisturized. Lotions and oils are particularly useful for this. This is it for today's video. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up and also make sure to subscribe our fabulous channel. Thanks.